That donut looks tasty, man.
You're a freak and a menace. But Gordon thinks you serve a purpose.
Oh, no, what does he also say? We'll get to it. But what's happening, guys? Welcome to Batman the Fan-imated stream. Sorry for the lateness. Sorry for the time thing. It's just all kinds of craziness happening today. So apologize. When I said it, I thought I said it for 7:30, but I sent it for 6:30. And then when I try to redo it on my phone, it said it for 8:30. So Jesus Christ.
So what you're saying is you really suck at your job, huh?
Pretty much worse than Bullet. Bullet does a good job. He's very messy about it, you know. That's what it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know what you mean, man.
What kind of donuts? What kind of donuts you got there?
Krispy Kreme.
Nice. So rich. It's hard to eat multiple of those,
man.
Oh
no, it's awful. I don't even normally eat Krispy Kreme donuts, but I literally DoorDash these for the prop for tonight. Like This is the commitment I have to Batman Fan-imated. I should not be eating a donut at 9:37 at night, but
no, that's a big
I have to sell the bit.
Sell the bit because you got the fedora on. You're good. You're good.
I got coffee. I'm also drinking coffee at 9:37 at night. What the hell, man? What I do for this show?
It's not decaf, is it? Huh?
Oh no, it's not. It's like dark Italian roast. I'm gonna be up for hours.
But at least you like your job, right?
I do like my job. And it is Noir November. Sorry, Noir-vember. So yeah. I probably will stay up and watch at least one or two because I'm behind. Like by now, I should have already seen 6. And I've only seen 1 because the challenge, of course, is watching Noir for
every day.
Every day. Luckily, I got some short ones that I'm going to have to like double and triple up to like get me back on schedule.
Nice. Well, there you go. We got plenty of time. I didn't realize that's what that was. Noir-vember was. I remember you tweeting about it and everything like that. I just thought it was cool. I didn't know you had to watch a noir type movie, but we got a noir type episode.
Yeah, we do.
Which just works big time. And what I wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to show this. I sent you this picture earlier. This is from the new Batman Batmobile manual, I should say. Inside the Dark Knight's Most Iconic Rides by Daniel Wallace.
Oh, yeah. Of course it's Daniel Wallace because that man does all of these books.
Yeah. And right there, look at that sexy beast. Oh. Look at that sexy beast, the Batman, the animated. And what is it called? The Noir Batmobile. That's what they call it in here. Look at that thing. Just really great stuff.
That's sexy.
Yeah, I got this from the girlfriend, a late gift. She ordered it a while ago, and then it finally came in. But yeah, it's got all of them. Not just, I mean, it goes through it all. I mean, look at how thick this thing is. Thick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it goes all the way up to Battinson's Batmobile. So it's the current one, and it breaks it all down. It freaking, man, even has like, you know, the Batwing and all that kind of stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah. Good book. Good book.
I got something sexy to show you.
Oh, the nipples are coming out.
No, not quite. Not quite.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Look at that thing.
I haven't unboxed it yet. It is getting unboxed because unfortunately, look what Target decided to do. They slapped a sticker on it. The gold label thing is like totally like bent up. Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't pay $80 and this was the one that came with like because you could have gotten a signed version with the art card signed by Bruce Timm. Now, believe me, I tried to get that one, but to no avail. Yeah. But yeah, I'm totally gonna pop this puppy open and set it up. Let the lightning bolts flash. But yeah, I had to
show that off.
Had to show this off.
It's a beaut. So we had some things to show off right at the beginning of the show. But yes, guys, thank you for joining. And again, I apologize for the lateness and whatnot. It just happened. So again, I was having dinner with my mom and the girlfriend. So it was just like one of those things. And then
are you throwing Janice under the bus? How dare
I'm throwing? It's always my mom's fault. It's always Mama Film Junkie's fault. That's what it is. I always have to do that. It's never my fault.
It's never Dave's fault.
I just want to stay home and watch nerdy shit all the time. And they're like, oh no, we got no. It was good times. But then of course the time changed. Just freaking. It's making me all. I totally forgot the time change, so I didn't change it in my car. And I'm like, wait a minute, is it really? And I was like, totally just. Yeah, that's why I've been off today. That's why I've been off.
Actually, the transition went really well. I think it helped that I did go to that movie last night.
Yeah.
So I was so. Okay, here's the problem, man. I turned 40, and these 10:30 movies. I really did. I nodded off at the end. Not the movie's fault. No, it's a slow movie. It's a character piece, but I like it. But I did not rate it yet because it's a movie that does demand a rewatch.
Okay.
There's something symbolic going on that I need to like
dissect.
Yeah. And I also need to like be awake for the whole damn thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be. I remember there's some times where even on like Thursday, especially if I didn't sleep well, like Wednesday night, if I'm at the movies and maybe the movie, I mean, it's not even the movie's fault either, but then you get in those relaxed chairs and everything, you're reclined and stuff. There's been times where I'm just like, doing one of those things too. So I feel you. But yeah, you went late.
I went late. It was 12:44 when the credits was rolling.
Jeez, man.
And that was before the time change. That was 12. That
so
was
you still gained the hour. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, but I'll tell you one thing, Colin Farrell, man. I mean, we're just starting the tangent at the beginning of the episode, but
big time.
The thing about Colin Farrell is he was one of those actors that when he first hit the scene, you felt like he was just going to be another like pretty boy.
Yeah.
And dude, has he like just continued to work it for his career?
He really has. I mean, he started off like that, where it's like he's the bad boy. He's the pretty boy. And then he was starting to get I think it was like pretty much after the movie, The Recruit, where he started just being like the leading man type. And then he was always showing up and all that. And, he had some stinkers. He had some good ones. And then, when it got further in his career, he just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, take it a little more serious. I know he went through some struggles with addictions and everything, cleaned himself up, and I think he, had some children and whatnot. I don't know how many he has, but yeah. But then he just kind of like, now it just seems like he wants to just act. He's not trying to be that anymore. He did all that. Now he's just trying to act. He just wants to act.
He's doing a damn good job of it.
He is. Yes, he is. I know, man. Can't wait for more of that Penguin.
That Penguin TV series. I'm like down for that.
It's going to be really good. But we're going to be talking about a very noir episode. Whoa, someone's being summoned.
Siri. It's just Siri. It's Skynet.
Pay attention to me. No, we're going to be talking about A Bullet for Bullock right here, which is very noir-y, very, very, so much jazz.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my notes. Okay. So we talked about this at the end of last week's episode, but this week's episode, I mentioned at the end of last week's episode that this is adapted from an issue of the comics. There's a Detective Comics number 651 from cover date of October of 1992. The issue is even called A Bullet for Bullock.
Yeah.
Dude, I read this thing tonight.
Yeah.
They like almost all the dialogue is lifted straight out of the comic.
That's good. It's good dialogue and the banter back and forth between Bullock and Batman. This is what I love about this episode is just that you got two people that do not like each other
at all.
Oh, and you get passive aggressive Batman just kind of being like giving Bullock the business. And there's even there's a spot in here where Batman gets up in Bullock's face.
No, that was cool because that wasn't in the comic book. Like they did. I'm not saying that this. I mean, this is like a really insanely faithful adaptation of that issue, but they do add things. And kind of like how when they did the Batman Year One movie, there's an entire scene in the movie that wasn't in Frank Miller's comic because they were like, we're adapting this faithfully and we can't even make 60 minutes. Like we need to add some stuff. They did that with it here where they adapted it so faithfully. They still had to add scenes because they wouldn't have made the runtime.
Yeah.
If they just adapted the comic. Now, speaking about the music, this is what won an Emmy.
Oh, okay. So it's so good. It's so good. I mean, we've heard the jazz before, but for some reason it just felt like on a different level on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, Harvey Cohen was the composer for this episode.
Okay.
And won the 1996 Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Music Direction and Composition.
there's a spot in here where you actually can hear the Batman theme through the
Yes,
jazz. I was like,
yes.
whoa, I know it's further in. I remember I wrote a note and I'm like, that's totally the Batman thing. And I'm like, rewound it. I'm like, yep, they have like the Batman theme going on with the jazz. That is sweet. I loved it. But
Now,
one of the
this
things,
is cool.
yeah,
Hold on, before we get into that, because we're talking about music, a cool thing happened was because we watched them in production order.
yeah,
This is the second episode of season 2.
yes.
In air date order, this was the next to last
Yeah.
episode of season 2 that aired, which was funny because when I actually when I watched it this time, I watched it on HBO Max,
Mm-hmm.
and I got the Adventures of Batman and Robin
That
intro.
was my first note right there. And I like fired it up and I'm getting my thing ready. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I'm hearing the I'm like, oh shit, it's the other opening. Yes, of course, because it was like when I looked for it, it's like way at the bottom of the list, and I was like, oh damn.
Because
Yeah,
this was one of those episodes that they had already, this was a Saturday, like this is when they started airing them on Saturday mornings and stopped doing them on weekdays for
yeah.
first run. And I was like, wow, I forgot. I remember chunks, but I forgot that they got rid of the Elfman score entirely and went completely with Shirley Walker's score.
Yeah, it is interesting. I wonder what made them decide to just do that. I mean, I guess just to keep it fresh. I would guess, but it's so funny though, because when you watch this episode, there's no Robin.
There's no Robin.
There's no Robin. But
And that's the funny thing. I'll point it out when we get to it. There's actually a scene in the comic where it's supposed to be Tim Drake Robin.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because just a shout out to the comic book. The comic book was written by Chuck Dixon with art by Graham Nolan. So this book was coming out right like just a few months before Nightfall, just to give you an idea about when this was happening. Because Nolan and Dixon were the ones who co-created Bane.
That's cool. But yeah, this one, if this one feels cold, I mean, goddamn, we've talked about how much of a slob Mr. Harvey Bullock is before, but man, you really see it this time because you get to see his habitation, his apartment, which is not good, not clean.
No,
It's not good. It's a piece of shit. It's a shithole.
It's a shithole.
It's a total shithole. But right at the beginning, we just get Bullock snowy. It's Christmas time that this story takes place, and he's just got some groceries, just walking, and then some dude just decides, hey, I'm gonna run you down. And it's almost kind of similar to like the title card where it's like, car coming at him and stuff, but of course he gets out of the way. But man, it's like that's not what you want on a late night snowing. You got your groceries and then all of a sudden you got to dodge headlights.
Yeah, and a gun because the guy also had a gun. Yeah.
And of course Bullock fires back, but so now Bullock's like, what the hell? And I love like when it's done and he's all breathing hard, like what this is okay. So then we get that cool little transition from moon to bat signal. And and then we always assume, just like Batman does, that if the bat signal's up in the air, it's Gordon. But nope, it's Bullock. And then, geez, the ball busting starts.
Oh my God, they just go after each other from the very beginning. It's like it wasn't the commissioner, it was me. And I love it. It was like, listen, I think you're a freak and a menace. But Gordon says you serve a purpose. So,
there's another thing that he says.
Is that what the other one he says?
He goes, I think you're a freak and a menace. And those are your good points.
And this is your good points.
He snicks that little in there. Like, you're a freak and a menace. And that's just what's good about you, and stuff. But yeah, and then he says the thing. And then he even says a good little line. He's like, I almost got a fender massage earlier. He said fender massage. I don't know.
Oh my God. The film noir type of like detective jargon. It's like, I almost got myself a fender massage, taking a dirt nap. And I'm just like, oh God, I love this I love this cheesy shit dialogue. It's so good.
And then Batman's trying to, he's playing it straight. Like, was there like people that would want to, that would want you dead? And he goes, there's so many, they got their own zip. They could have their own zip code.
Pulled straight from the book. Like all that is straight up Chuck Dixon. I love it. And like all those good lines.
Ow, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I always love it when I love it was like, why don't you go to the department? Because I don't want eternal affairs sniffing around.
Yes, he doesn't want that. See, that's the thing. We start to realize that, Bullock? Because I mean, we in season 1, you could suspect that he's dirty. He's dirty. When it comes
Vendetta
to
was a great
yeah,
episode for that.
yeah.
I
It was a
mean,
great episode
because
for that.
that's kind of the whole point, is that people think Bullock really is doing this shit when Croc's impersonating him. And I mean, it's like everyone's like, well, it might be Bullock. You know, it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, but I know he just basically goes like, "Hey, no, let's not do it the right way, Batman. I don't want internal affairs looking over this way." And then, of course, it's just that little back and forth, how of him bending the rules, as he says.
Oh, but man, I love when Batman's like, "Are you on the take?"
Yeah.
Oh, and Bullock's like, "I never took a dime in my life." It's like, don't. I just bend the rules a little.
Jeez, it's not the first time he has a little outburst either. In this episode, he gets triggered pretty easily. So then we get Bullock going back to his apartment. He doesn't care. He's got mud on his shoes. He's dragging it all in, and then we get his landlord Nivens, who's just very prudish, kind of.
By the way, do you know who Nivens was?
No, but it sounded familiar, and I couldn't.
Oh, you're gonna hate yourself. By the way.
Oh God, I know I am.
You ready?
Yes.
It's Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones.
Grace!
I was just talking about that. I was just talking about him not too long. Oh, yeah, because I was mentioning that they're supposedly the creators of Cobra Kai want to do a Ferris Bueller's Day Off like version of that, like the later years and whatever the heck, and their kids and whatnot. And then I was like, yeah, would they bring back Mooney though? Like, would he come back? It's like, Jeffrey Jones still alive? It was like a couple of weeks ago. I think I was talking to my brother about that, but yeah, that's funny.
I was funny because, like, for you, Jeffrey Jones is going to be Mooney, and for me, he's always going to be the Emperor from Amadeus.
That's right. He was the Emperor.
Too many notes.
Yes.
I love Amadeus so much.
I know. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I remember watching that in I don't know how many classrooms. That was always like, if you had like a music little thing that was part of your, that was always
you always watched Amadeus.
Yes. Yeah. Anytime, like when it was that time of year where like the music teacher would come in for like the hour or whatever. Every year, there was one day it was like, yep, we're watching Amadeus. So yeah, but it's a great movie. It's great.
But Jeffrey Jones, great actor.
Great actor. Absolutely great actor. But yeah, so obviously we see that, and then of course Bullock is just like, and Nivens gets beat red. Did you notice like how angry he's like getting? He's saying how much his apartment stinks. I don't want roaches, all this stuff.
No, this is an interesting thing when you compare the comic book to the episode, is they push Nivens further in the episode than you ever get to in the comic. Like they, of course, he like in the comic, that Harvey can be, of course, be smoking like this big, huge like cigar, and he like blows the smoke in the guy's face rather than just flicking his toothpick, because ew, Harvey, really? Oh, that's just gross, man.
Yeah, that was all in your mouth, and God knows how long, and God knows how clean that mouth is with all the garbage that he shoves down it. Such a slob. And we get his apartment, and it's funny too because there's actual roaches in there. Like he thinks he sees a figure, and then he turns on the light, and it's just like some clothes or whatever, and there's a big, huge hole in the wall, and all the roaches just right in there. Like, Jesus Christ. Jeez. He's like, yeah, it's whatever. You can imagine.
But the whole time you've got that, like, you got the saxophone playing, like, and it's just, oh my God, the music. No wonder this thing won a freaking Emmy. It's just perfect, because it's not, or it's barely ever orchestral in the entire episode. It's always like jazz trio. Like, I was trying to keep up with, okay, so I heard a saxophone, I heard a trumpet, obviously there was a snare drum in there. Was there a bass? Was there a stand-up bass?
I think there might have been some bass in there too. It had to be with something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was. But then it's funny too, because just one little line, you kind of go like, if you're watching this and you're going, all right, well, why would Bullock? Why would he want to live in this shit apartment? What's keeping him here? And very subtly, when he's just out on his balcony with like some coffee or whatever the hell, and he looks across the way and he sees a new apartment building, and realizing how expensive they are, he goes, hey, Thank heavens for rent control. It's like, oh yeah, rent control is keeping him there. He doesn't want to move when his rent,
which was so funny because you better believe that 12-year-old me had no idea what rent control was.
I would have never known exactly what that was. Now that I know what it is, it's just a subtle thing of just explaining without explaining that, oh, that's why he lives in this little shithole, because why leave when you're just going to pay, low rent and whatever. But obviously when we get to the end, things might change a little bit. But at the moment you go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's really funny though. Okay, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Because I think this is a good point. And it's something that's very different from, say, like what the comic showed to what the episode showed, or maybe slightly different. Do you think the building is shit? Or is it just Harvey's apartment is shit? And it's actually a really nice building if he would just take care of his own apartment.
Well, if you look at Nivens, then 100% it's just Harvey's place is shit. But then at the same time, the neighborhood is still not the greatest,
No, that's true. That's true.
But I mean, even where I live right now, it's not in the best of neighborhoods, but it's pretty clean when it comes to like inside. And once you get, you get through the gate and blah, 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 everything's kept up, everything's good. But yeah, you walk outside, you look left, you look right, you might be like, it's a little sketchy around here. But yeah, so I think it's one of those situations. And just the fact that I guess you can't really kick them out or anything like that. It's just Harvey's.
That's once again, that's the beauty of rent control. You're good.
You're good. You're staying, and you don't even have to keep it up. And oh my God, so we get to the Batcave. Alfred has one of the best descriptions of Harvey Dent, and I was like, I rewound it because I was like, what did he say? Like,
you mean the gentleman who looks like an unmade bed?
Detective Harvey Bullock.
That's the scene in the comic that it wasn't Alfred, it was Tim Drake.
Ah, gotcha. So does he say that line?
Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. But it's just it was such a good description. I laughed, had to rewind it because I was like, he really just called it like an unmade bed. Because yeah, he's big, he's huge, and yeah, he's always wrinkly and everything does not iron probably. And he's just, yeah.
God, oh my God. I would be shocked if Harvey even knew what an iron was.
Oh, nah, he doesn't know what it is. Jeez, God knows how often does he clean some of that stuff? Probably just, that's fine. Put it back
on. Oh, that's exactly. You've seen what he eats. Why would it bother him what he wears?
God, yeah, we do see him eat a couple of times in this episode too. That's why it was good that you had the donuts. Did they come from Dunko Donuts? That's what it was called. I loved how it was called Dunko Donuts when we get to that part. I'm like, oh, okay, of course we're not gonna use Dunkin', but hey, close enough. And then of course we have Batman's researching it all because it's Batman's doing his Batman thing, and then we got Montoya and Bullock just kind of showing up. He's got like a little bit of a lead. Huh?
Okay. Here's an interesting little detail that I saw that I want to pay attention to in further episodes in season 2. Did it strike you the way Montoya was dressed?
Yes. She had like a skirt.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I always thought she never got promoted to detective until season 3 when the time jump happens.
Yeah.
But without her being in uniform, I'm like,
maybe she already got it.
Maybe she always detective. Once again, I want to make sure it wasn't like a weird off model thing they did for this episode. Like, I want to watch the rest. That's like a goal of mine now for the rest of the season is,
what is Montoya wearing?
What's Montoya wearing? Because what rank is Montoya? Which, by the way, learned a really cool factoid. Because when I was reading the comic, Montoya was in the comic.
Nice.
Now, here's the thing, though. Remember, the comic came out in cover date of October of 92, which means this issue actually came out in like August.
Okay.
When did Batman the Animated Series first premiere?
It was, 91?
No. 2. It was September of 92. 92. I learned this. Even though she was created for the show, she started showing up in the comics in March before the show aired in September.
Oh, wow. So they created her for the show and then they decided to use her for the books.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were getting to. I was like, yeah, if she's in the book, was that before she? Yeah, that's interesting.
Apparently, they saw her in the show Bible because we've talked about the show Bible
Oh,
before.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they pulled her into the comics. So she started appearing in the comic books months before she even appeared in the series, even though she was created for the show.
Jeez, that's interesting. Well, there you go. There's some factoids right there for you guys. That's interesting. Good little catch right there. So yeah, now we're going to be paying attention to Montoya's clothes. Wardrobe choices. Let's see what happens. But so yeah, they go into this building to to basically just be like, hey, let's see what's happening over here. Let's interrogate. Let's go in. I love how Bullock just shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Big ass shotgun. Just let's do this. And he's ready to just unleash and everything. And then it's just some thugs. And there's a nice little chase sequence, onto a rooftop. And, Bullock that bullet almost came for Bullock, but guess who saved the day? Yeah, you get one guess.
Yeah, Batman. I love it.
Yeah.
I said I need your help. I didn't say I need you to hold my hand.
God, he's just
Such a dick.
He's so stubborn.
But
the dude saved your life, man. How many times has that dude saved your life? And you can't, even though you're, the guy you look up to, which is Gordon. I'm surprised Gordon doesn't make an appearance at all, really, in this episode. He doesn't
appear in the comic either. It really is just a Batman. It's a fun little, just a Batman Bullock story.
If you think about it, Christmas time, Gordon's probably just
with Barbara.
Yeah, and maybe with other family. He's out of town, so that's what I was just assuming, that he's on vacation Christmas time.
I always thought it would. I thought it was interesting. It'd be more like Bullock wouldn't want Gordon to know. Like, once again, it's all about that. I'm keeping this between you and me, Bats.
Yeah,
because he doesn't even tell Montoya.
No, he's just because he doesn't want to seem weak. I guess he's just got that superiority complex, or whatever the hell you call it, where it's just like he's just got to puff his chest and be like, nope, it's my way of doing things. And he doesn't want to reveal to anybody that he needed Batman's help.
Well, also, it kind of goes back to the fact that he doesn't want anybody sniffing around. Really, everyone else is too much of a rule follower that they would all do exactly what Batman said was, why don't you take this to the department?
Yeah. And then, of course we, Batman's just like, okay, well, I'll keep on going, keep on looking. And he's just like, he's all, I love how Batman's like, okay, yeah, don't worry, I'll find you. And then, of course, Bullock's like, calling him a show off and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, he's talking to the thug, and he's basically just like, another little noir-y, detective-y, keep your trap shut, dog breath. I mean, I thought that was a cool line.
I also like the one, I'm just reading him his rights.
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent.
That's what he says.
Yeah. I suggest you keep your trap shut.
Yeah, exactly. Dog breath. And then, of course, Batman basically shows up to Bullock's, who, of course, scares Bullock, almost shoots him. It's just like one of those things that he even tells. This is where I'm actually agreeing with Bullock. It's like, yeah, Batman, you really got to just be in this apartment, just snooping around. You're not going to think that he might just pop in, see a figure, and start firing. And he almost did. And he tells Batman, like, dude, like, what are you doing, man?
What are you doing?
Yes. And of course, he's looking at the threatening letters that he got, and then we get some more Bullock piggery, which is just pizza that's just sitting open, that has probably been sitting there all day. Roaches have probably been munching at it, and he just grabs a slice and grabs some soda. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's just, yeah, but they do a good job of just making them just so repulsive. God, he just does not care. So then of course we get to the part where, like, yeah, Bullock is he gets the donuts from Dunko Donuts, and he's just chomping on them, and it's just like, this guy, like, dude, you're getting so close. You're not have to worry about people shooting you. You're gonna have a freaking heart attack.
Oh, absolutely.
Diabetes, whatever, pick. He's not taking care of himself at all. Although, later on, he does run pretty fast.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like when we just watched Mask of the Phantasm. It's like he can hoof it when he needs to.
Yeah, so maybe he gets in a little bit of exercise, and we just can't see it underneath, the suit and the jacket and all that stuff. That just,
and the rolls of fat.
Yeah, maybe there's something going on in there. He's got a good base, maybe, I guess. You know, he's got a good base like structure. I don't know. So, Alan Grant Arnaprice wrote Montoya's first appearance.
Sweet.
That's what Filipino guy said. Pretty fly. He just wrote that right in there. So, yeah, there you go. May he rest in peace. And then of course, he heads down to the subway, and then he just gets pushed on the tracks. And for a big guy, the train just went right over him. He lucked out. Maybe he sucked in the gut a little bit. I don't know. Just or something, because that I was like, I couldn't remember. I'm like, does Batman come again and save his ass? No, he just kind of and then the train just goes right over him.
Yeah. That was the one thing that's a little bit more realistic in the comic, because in the comic he just rolls to the side.
Okay, so
that rolls off the tracks.
That makes sense. I was kind of going like, all right, you're kind of pushing it right there when it comes to that, especially a big guy like him. So yeah, I was like,
but the poor donuts. Even I felt a little.
I know, and then he kicks the donuts. Like, hey, come on. Perfectly good donuts, although they're probably dirty now. And then we get back to the station and we get Montoya again. And I love her line where it's like, "Man, you don't look so good." But I mean, you never look good, but you look worse. And but
he's like holding his coffee, and he's just like. But you also notice that he's got like the whole box of like rounds in front of him, and he's just kind of like.
He's not feeling too good. And then of course he lashes out on her. You'd feel the same way if you've been working here in this. Well, I forgot exactly what he says, but basically saying that, if you worked in this freaking station for so many years, you wouldn't look good either. So, but I just love that line. She goes, "Yeah, well, you never look good." It's like, yeah, true. Give it. And then she just like, "Hey, well, it's the holidays. What are you going to be doing this year?" And he goes like, "Same thing I did last year. My laundry."
Same thing I did for Christmas.
Oh, Christmas, yeah.
Same thing I did for Christmas. My laundry.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah, because she asked about New Year's, right?
Right, because when the episode starts, that was a subtle thing, is that you see someone taking down Christmas decorations.
That's right. So this is like right after that. So this is the week. This is the week between the 25th and the 1st. There you go.
Yeah, which I thought was a really subtle way of like giving us a time frame without making a dialogue.
I didn't catch the taking down of the stuff, but yeah, that makes sense. See, just little subtle things where it's like you don't need to have exposition. You just put things, you place things, you go, okay, it's just good. So then we find out about Vincent Starkey, Vinny the Shack. Of course, I mean, geez, of course you're gonna have somebody that's gonna be Vinny. Something with the.
And if someone has the middle name the.
Yeah, exactly. His name's gonna be that. And then of course this is where Bullock pushes back against Batman, and Batman just flat out just.
I love it. It's just like.
He just I mean, again, Bullock's a big guy, and Batman lifts him up off his feet. And it's just basically saying like, hey, I don't need to do this, motherfucker. I don't like you. You don't like me. If you don't like I forgot exactly what the words are, but I'm just saying it's like, yeah, because Batman's going out of his way to help him. And this is what I like about this episode too, is the fact that Batman just, even though he does not like Bullock at all, he's still willing to go out of his way to help him figure out what is happening here, even to the point where he tells Alfred that he feels that Bullock is going to need, a guardian, essentially, when it comes to just how messy he is and whatnot, when it comes to trying to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah, I love it too, because it's just like, fuck you, man. I don't have to be spending my nights doing this, but I am.
Yeah.
So you know what? Stop giving me shit.
And I gave you a lead, which he obviously Bullock knew, because he talks about the dude, how he had something, he had like a drug trafficking thing or whatever the hell.
God, this is what got me. They name drop crack. I'm like,
yeah, they did. It's true. As a kid, you're like, what? Crack? You don't know it unless you took, unless maybe you took a dare class.
No, I think I had like heard of it, but
dare, probably.
Yeah, it was dare, yeah.
All right.
I mean, it was the 90s, but but still, it was like, I think it just kind of hit me. I was just like, well, damn, that's
they did say crack. That was crazy. And then of course, Batman just says like, visit Summer Gleason, to as a lead to I forgot exactly what was it. I think I forgot to write it down. So yeah,
she'd been doing a report on drug houses in South Gotham.
That's what.
But now, however, this is completely invented for the show.
Okay.
Because in the comic, as soon as they meet up here, they immediately go to Vinny's
warehouse.
operation. So everything that happens from this point until they show up at Vinny the Shark's operation was completely added to the episode to pad it for time.
Gotcha. And then again, we just see, obviously Summer Gleason does not like Bullock either. Shocker.
Does anybody like Bullock?
Nobody likes
Bullock.
Well, I mean, even Batman says that to him. It's like nobody likes you, pretty much. So it's like I think maybe Batman looked at it like a challenge, because like, wait, I'm supposed to find somebody that doesn't like you and wants to kill you. Well, geez, that's not going to be easy. It's like
it's going to be easy to find somebody. It's going to be hard to narrow it down to who this particular individual is. With all the
threats and shit. Yeah, seriously. But yeah, and then we see Bullock try to sweet talk her as she's like editing a story. She's like in an edit bay and basically trying to just do something like that. And then what does he do? He goes into her office and starts snooping around and not even giving a shit. He's going, just throwing papers on the ground and all this stuff. Like, what is like, dude?
By the way, Batman is doing a Batman thing where, of course, he finds some scum drug dealer and
oh, he swooped in on that guy. That was like smooth. Guy makes a little deal or whatever, and he starts like going, this is why I like America, because because he's able to do that. And then Batman just whoosh swoops right in, and then just, I mean, he gives it. There's no way that this guy didn't shit his pants.
I always love it when it's like, hi, Vinny's not my contact anymore. Hello, Batman. Wrong answer.
Yeah. And then just throws him off the ledge, grapples his ankle just before
he goes
hits the ground. And if that wasn't enough, a big truck starts barreling at this dude, and Batman pulls him up just in the nick of time before he becomes a fly on his windshield.
Oh my God, I can't. How many more noirish type cheesy phrases can we come up with as we're even describing this episode?
Seriously, red fly on the way, a bug on the windshield. Yeah, there you go. But yeah. And he does all that, and then of course Gleason walks in when Bullock's doing all this stuff, and she's pissed as all hell. It's like, yeah, dude, you were supposed to
wait.
Cooler. Yeah,
you couldn't cool your heels for an hour.
Couldn't do it. He's too antsy. He's too worried. He's too everything, and it's funny too, because even like before that, when she's in the edit bay, she goes, you still owe me for the last favor I gave you. It's like, but he's like, come on, I'm good for it. It's like,
no, you're not.
You're not good for it. Well, you're just trying to sweet talk. What the hell, man?
Oh, and let's be honest, watching Bullock try to sweet talk was just kind of creepy.
It's creepy.
It's creepy as shit.
No. Yeah, that little smile, the smile that he puts on there, and the way that
he turns a chair, and it's just like,
oh. It's like, whoa, that's a little forward, buddy. I mean, come on, let's relax a little bit. But of course, she gets pissed, kicks him out and everything. And then he tries to get a taxi. And I love how, the taxi just goes by him, splashes a little puddle on him. And then all of a sudden the Batmobile, the very Batmobile that I showed you guys, the noir Batmobile, as it's titled in that book. Man, it's just funny. I just love the sound of the engine. Just the way it sounds, the rumble of that engine just sounds so freaking cool. And
nice spaceship.
Yes. Nice spaceship you got here. What's this button do? And casually,
I love
Batman's just like, he's just passenger ejector seat. It's like, yeah, it's just one of those things.
And I don't believe it. I don't believe it was a passenger. I know Batman was just shitting with him right there.
This is buddy cop movie.
Yes,
100% in this.
Yes.
I mean, it's already been that, but this is 100% that. You got the straight nose, you got the straight right there. That's just like, subtle everything, and then you got the freaking, the
wild card,
the wild card, the guy who's not doing it straight laced, and that was just such a good line. Passenger ejector seat. And so then of course Batman and Bullock show up to to Vinny's new
crack house,
I guess you could say. Yes, we could say that. And where's standards and practices on this one?
I know, right? I'm just like,
they were like, fine, it's fine. Kids need to know. Dare's huge now, so yeah. Then that's all happening, and then they get a shell of a car dropped on them. I was like, and what does Batman do? He jumps onto Bullock again.
Get down.
Yes. this is Batman going out of his way to really help this dude out who hates his guts, and he doesn't like him either. I can only imagine what he smells like. And it's just like, it's just crazy how much, that he's just, and I just
And
really
this is the scene where we start hearing the Shirley Walker Batman theme in a jazz arrangement.
We're gonna watch because we get to see Batman and Bullock just kind of go at it with these guys. I mean, obviously when they're in there, and it's funny too because the bad guys, Vinny and the bad guys, did that thing where it's like, dude, all you guys had to do was unload. And
I know. Stop monologuing. Stop freaking monologuing.
You had him dead to rights.
Just shoot him.
But of course he's like, oh yeah, killing the Batman is gonna make me big in Gotham, but I'm gonna enjoy, and he talks about like 8 years, I've been wanting this, and Bullock, and he's got to say all this stuff. Meanwhile, you're giving, every second Batman's gonna do something. And sure, what does he do? He pulls out the smoke bombs, pop on the ground, and then now it's time to
puts on the rebreather.
It's so good, and then it's just we get another. Well, this is like a little later on. This is after that little, I think it's that little part. Maybe not. I don't know. I was rushing to get home and stuff like that. So I'll just put it wherever I put it here. So, but yeah, it's so freaking good. There we go. Where's it going? There it is. Yep. Got him. Look at that.
Yeah, this is before the car.
Okay, so it is before the car, yeah.
Yeah, because there he goes right there.
Yep. You see right there, he just jumps right on him. Look at that. Da-da-da. And then again, with the monologue.
Just shoot him.
All they had to do was just fire away. But of course,
you out, Bullock.
Taking you out, Bullock.
Commercial break.
Commercial break. Jeez. Oh man.
8 years I waited to do this, Bullock.
About 8 years.
Now it's paid.
That was a great line too earlier when he was like, "Yeah, I sent him to Stonegate."
Oh, that's great.
And like he was a mild prisoner. He did 8.
Here it is. Look at that.
That was probably a clarinet right there.
Right?
I mean, listen to this score, man.
It's so good. Ouch! That had to hurt. That guy.
Oh, man.
That guy had some ribs broken right there. Listen to that.
That's a saxophone.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Again, all he had to do was fire at him, dude.
I know, right? His magazine was empty. Good.
Look at how fast he runs. Look at how fast Bullock can run, man. And then just, get it, Bullock.
Oh, man.
And then it's just like that showdown thing where it's like,
Vinny, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And then Batman, of course, like, Bullock.
Just call me Santa.
And you're the top of my naughty list.
No, Bullock.
And look at the shadows, too.
Yeah,
how you got the shadow down here. Like they do that in Mask of the Phantasm, and now they're doing it just like on like a regular episode. I love that. Because notice that the animation, from last week with Sideshow and then this week, like it's being a lot more like consistent so far. It's not like jumping around like season 1.
I think it's because it's just season 2 and they kind of have it dialed in by now,
Well, also they're only having to there's only 20 episodes in season 2 versus the 65 they were doing for season 1. So it's like they also don't have as large of a production order.
That's true. And Eric brought up a good point. Maybe Bullock's kind of like the good guy Wilson Fisk fat. Like he's a big dude, but he's still very strong and whatnot. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, so So basically, we think like, oh yeah, they caught him, it's over. But no, we get to the whole interrogation of Vinny, sweating under the sweating under the lights. That whole If you're wondering what we're talking about,
a weekly reminder to watch Dick Tracy if you haven't.
Dick Tracy, that was good old Dustin Hoffman playing Mumbles, which God, that was
such a good movie.
I loved that character. And then the best part is when Dick Tracy goes like, want me to play this for Big Boy? And he's just, and then he slows down the tape. He's like, Big Boy did it. Big Boy did it. And then he just goes, it's just funny because he's laughing his ass off, and then when he slows it down, it's like Big Boy did it. Big Boy did it. It's hilarious. Anyways, yeah, that's a tangent right there. But yeah, weekly tangent of watch Dick Tracy if you haven't already. So,
that's not a tangent. That's a public service announcement.
Very true. That's a good point. So yeah, the interrogation happens, and then, of course he denies doing all the threats. Let's see, and then at Bullock's, and then back at Bullets to do that. What did I write right here?
Because it's all about like because even Vinny was like, oh dude, if I wanted you dead, you would have been dead.
It's like one of those things where it's like, no, why would I do it like that? Why would I send you threats and then do all this stuff? Of course, no, that's not my style. I wouldn't do it like that. So then, of course, it's like, all right, well, it's not over yet. And then, of course, when we get to Bullock's place, we get the dude with a ski mask on and everything like that. And then he just starts yelling at him. And it was kind of weird because it's just like, all right, we went through all this trouble of doing like a lot of this other stuff, and then you're just gonna outside in the street.
Okay, so this is something that I'm gonna be honest, made a lot more sense in the comic.
Okay.
Because
what happened in the comic?
Because in the comic, it's a little on the nose, but the intention was for Nivens to make it look like a mugging gone wrong.
Ah, okay.
So it's
trying to mug Bullock.
Well, no, but the idea was I'm going to kill you on the street, so it looks like a mugging. Because there's a line of dialogue in the comic that goes, just another mugging in Gotham gone wrong, or something like that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense. And this, or like in here, I should say, because Nivens is just they established it already that like he just cannot. If out of everybody that was giving Bullock the business, Montoya, Batman, anybody, Vinny even, there's just Nivens. He loathes. It's not. You can't even use the word hate. It's loathe. You have to use loathe. That's why when they showed him in the beginning and his face was all red about it.
Turn off your heat if you're going to be gone all day.
It's just he loathes him. So it was like, he to the point where he just lost his mind and figured that I'm just going to do it like this because they would understand. He literally, when he's like losing it,
no jury in the world would have convicted me.
And then he just starts laughing, and you're like, wow, this guy's another Joker. That's just an origin story.
One bad day.
One bad freaking day. And this is what this guy, to the point where he's like losing it, flat out losing it. And then, of course, you guys, when Batman comes in and, just in the nick of time, as always, to save him. And then when all that's is happening and everything. And then, of course, when they take him, and then, he basically says, Batman, I owe you one. He goes, don't worry about it. Like,
you got enough problems.
You got enough problems. And he's just like, I'm out of here. I'm just like, I'm done. He's probably like so relieved, like, fuck. All right, we figured this out. Thankfully there was no other big, crimes that were happening in Gotham. So kept me busy, but Jesus Christ, I could only imagine going back to the Batcave and then just with Alfred. It's like, it's done. It was the
landlord.
It was the landlord. Absolutely hated him. But then, what does Bullock say? He goes like, yeah, I'm thinking about moving anyways. The neighborhood's kind of been run down the past few years.
I love Bullock's story. This was about my apartment.
Yes, I know. With all this stuff, that was what's funny. The realization, and maybe this will help Bullock. Like, open your eyes, dude. Like, again, and the whole thing, like going through this whole thing and talking about all the many criminals that you put away that would want you to see you take the dirt nap. It was your landlord about your apartment that wanted to fucking kill you.
You know how much that apartment is worth?
Worthy. God, dude. That's what's so great about this because
It's
you're
a
like
great twist.
it is a great
It's your
twist.
landlord
It
that wants
really
to
is.
kill you.
But you're such a slob and a piece of shit that your landlord just wants you dead.
And because the rent control arrangement would only work with him, and
Yes.
if he leaves, it's null and void.
Yes, exactly. It's gonna. You can up the rent, be all redo it, get all rid of all the roaches for sure, and the smell. Who knows if you can get rid of that smell? But yeah, man, just a really freaking good episode.
Oh,
My
it's
God.
so good. And it's funny. It's like an episode that, like, I think I enjoyed it as a kid, but I love it as an adult.
I mean, look at the things that we caught now that we catch now when we watch this, and all the little, the dialogue, all the noir dialogue and everything that probably didn't really understand as a kid with some of this stuff, and then just understanding again rent control and stuff, and going like, oh, okay, I can see why that drove him to madness. I can only imagine what that guy was
Actually,
feeling.
you're like, the landlord has a point.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Even Batman was like, yeah, dude, I gave you I knew so many of these mob bosses wanted you dead. Your landlord, yeah, I could see that, dude. I was inside your apartment, and I I could only imagine Batman going, remember that mask that I wore after I threw the smoke bombs? I wanted to wear that in your fucking apartment because it was so bad in there, jeez. But yeah, just a fantastic episode. Really, really enjoyed this.
I also love the fact that because this series, we've talked about this before, how this series introduced a lot of characters to us. Because Bullock's been around for a minute in the comics, even at this point. But what I love this episode is, since the series introduced me to Bullock, I love the fact that they bothered to take a supporting character and give him an episode, kind of like how POV was that episode for Montoya. Now that was a little bit different because they created Montoya, but here it was, no, let's just devote, granted they took a story from the comics, but they even bothered to say, no, that's a story we want to tell in our show.
It's just so good. It was good. I don't know. Is there anything else you need to say about this? I think that's pretty good. The jazz, everything.
You want a donut?
I know. I kind of want a donut now. After watching and talking about this, I kind of want a donut. So, yeah, but clean your room, Bullock. If you start in a new place, keep it up. I mean, I don't know how much they're paying you over there at GCPD, but hey, keep it up. Keep it up at least. But what do we got next week?
Trial.
Oh.
See, I'm going to be interested to go back
and
rewatch this episode, because I came into Bullock I'm ready for the Trial. There's already one thing that I'm already kind of excited about, because we've been doing this cool rewatch that I'm like, oh, that's cool, from all the way back at season 1. There's a connection and that kind of thing. And also, I think there is something, as far as the animated series is concerned, I think something almost historic gets brought up in Trial. We'll have to talk about it when we watch the episode
next week. All right. I remember loving this episode as a kid because obviously, everything that's involved, all the, the different villains and everything, the Trial. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see it because I haven't watched it in a minute. I mean, I probably watched it when when DC Universe app came on and was on there, and I probably had it on the background, but to actually sit and pay attention full on start to finish with this one, going to be interesting because I remember loving it as a kid because of all what happens here. So we'll see. Judge Joker. That's right, guys. Who's no, we'll talk about it next week. I was like,
what are we gonna ask? Go ahead and ask the question.
Who's the lady again? What's the character?
Oh, Janet Van Dyne, or
and she showed up in season 1 at one episode.
Yeah, she was in Shadow of the Bat Part 1.
That's what it was. Yes, because I remember, I think we talked about that too.
Yeah, because Barbara is talking to her, and I remember I was sitting there going, "What the hell?" That's her.
So there you go. So we get to see her again, and she's not a fan of Batman, but towards the end she comes to a realization, though, when it comes to all this. But yeah, we'll talk about that then. So thank you guys. Go ahead, Scott. Send us off.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast, where podcasts can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. Hey, head on over to Geekverse Podcast. You know, Dave and I were on there last night doing a cool trivia battle. You can still watch it. Oh, you son of a bitch. And, but we raised over $2,000 for Children's Hospital. So go check out our video. You can see the whole trivia contest from start to finish. It was a lot of fun. And of course, I'm here every Sunday night with this Joker. So, you know, we will see you next week. Same-ish bat time, probably.
I'm sure. Well, it's just because today was like the whole, dinner thing. So we had to push it for, a little bit. So it should be the same bat time, same bat channel. But yeah, guys, smash that like, thumbs up, subscribe, join if you want to join. I got all the sock meds down below, all that stuff, the Patreon, everything's there.
T-shirts.
I'm wearing mine, Yes, wearing that. I was like, you know what? Today's a good day for it. I haven't worn it in a little bit. And I always like I like the tri-blend that I have with it too. And you got an AFSP shirt right there, which yes, guys.
Yeah, today was the Birmingham walk.
Nice. So. The Birmingham walk. So there you go. And as always, there's always going to be the link for AFSP below all videos, all streams, always there. And of course, it's the Autumn Snyder link. So if you can, got some extra money, a couple of bucks here and there, throw it out there. It's always for a good cause. All right, guys, we love you, and we'll see you guys next weekend. There it is.